Hi, and welcome to another Friday Ask Us Anything Live. So I was on holiday the past 2 Fridays, so I couldn't do a live. I was on the western coast of France. It was absolutely glorious. But today I am back and Emily is sleeping, so I'm a little bit earlier today. Then I'm 15 minutes early, but while she's sleeping, I thought it was best to go live. So today's video is going to be about how to be polite in English, because we had this question from one of our amazing students, Richard, a couple of weeks ago. So, does it seem to you like the things you say often cause offense? Or are you having trouble getting people to respond to your requests? If so, maybe people are perceiving that your English isn't quite polite. You see how I said isn't quite polite? It's the polite way of saying perhaps what you're saying is quite rude. And again, I use quite because I'm so British, I can't say is rude. I can't be that direct. So I want to give you some tips on how to avoid being rude in English with me now. So living abroad here in France, I have been known to refuse to help English-speaking tourists because of the way they have asked for help, which has been incredibly rude. Now, I'm not talking about non-native speakers, because I always help them, because I always think they're making an effort, whether it's in English or in French, I will always help. I'm talking about native speakers who for some reason think it's okay to be really rude in English, which I don't quite understand, but there you go. So the main reason is that they use a very direct question and they don't even phrase it as a question. It's not at all in the polite form. So for example, I have been asked, again, it's not really asked, I have been demanded, where is the bus stop? Or simply, bus stop. And now, if a native English speaker is speaking to me like that in English, yes, I will turn away and I will pretend I don't understand them, because that is so rude in English. We never use the direct question to a stranger. We will always use the polite form, could you tell me where the bus stop is? Could you tell me? This is a very important phrase in English. Could you tell me where the bus stop is? Could you help me? Could you give me a hand? This is very, very important. We would never use the imperative or the direct question when requesting something. This immediately annoys English speakers, especially British people. So you will always say, can you, could you, instead of just the imperative. And the reason is we don't like being told what to do. And so phrasing, for example, if you want something, there's a newspaper on the table and you're at a cafe, you would not say to the person, give me the newspaper. Say, could you give me the newspaper? Could you pass me the newspaper? Can you pass me the newspaper? Would you mind passing me the newspaper? Now, the problem is sometimes when I have said that in English, when I'm in the UK, and it's talking to a tourist, they may not understand, because the polite version is actually more complicated English than the simple direct question. But unfortunately, if you use the direct question or the imperative, give me, or give me the newspaper, the person immediately takes offense. Another important point is to say, excuse me. So if you are walking on the street and somebody stops in your way, or you're trying to go down the escalator in the tube and somebody is standing right in front of the entrance, don't understand why people do this, it's a pet peeve of mine, but people will stand right in front of the doorway or the entrance to the tube. Now, I will never ever say, move out the way, move. That is so rude in English. Yes, that's what I want the person to do, but I will never say it that way. You're going to provoke a very negative reaction. So what you say to get the result that you want is excuse me. Excuse me. Just that. Excuse me. You don't need to say more. Just excuse me. I have been known to say excuse me at least 7 or 10 times before the person hears me and then moves out the way, but I will never stop saying excuse me. I will never change and just say move to that person, no matter how many times I have to say excuse me. It's very important. The next is another brilliant expression in English that I have for you. So when unfortunately you need to decline an invitation or it's something that you can't do, we would not simply say no. So for example, your friend says to you, oh, would you like to come to the cinema tonight? You don't say no. You don't just go no. That's incredibly rude. You say, oh, I'd love to, but I'm afraid I can't. I would love to, but I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid I can't come tonight. I'm already busy. Even if you're completely free and it's just because you don't want to go to the cinema, you are not going to be so rude as to just say no. I'm afraid I can't is a wonderful expression. And the next expression I'd like to talk about is the difference between I would like and I want. Okay, so you want to request something. It's clear that you want something. But for example, I want a cup of coffee. You would never say that to a waiter, a stranger, or even a friend. You must always say, I'd like a cup of coffee, please. I'd like blah, 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 please. I'd like da, da, da. This is much more polite than I want. We have an expression in English that we teach our children. I want never gets. So when you use the expression I want, you will not get what you want. You have to use the more polite expression I would like and the abbreviation I'd like. Very, very important. The next one is another great expression. So if someone is doing something you don't like and maybe even they're being rude or they're irritating you. For example, when you're on the train, like I was just recently, and you've got somebody hitting the back of your chair. If it's a young child, it depends on their age, but if it's a teenager or an adolescent kicking the back of your chair, yes, it can be very annoying. Now, you don't say, stop hitting my chair, or you've got somebody on the train who's talking really loudly on their phone. Again, you don't say, stop talking loudly. You say, would you mind not kicking my chair? Would you mind not talking loudly? Would you mind is a great expression in English and one that you really must learn because it is so crucial to basically express politely to somebody to stop doing what they're doing. And one final tip is for when you're on the phone, okay, and for example, it's very important to be polite on the phone, otherwise the person will just hang up. And you want a constructive conversation, not the person hanging up and that you have no conversation. So if, for example, the person wants to speak to somebody else or they want you to get something, and you need to tell the person to wait. Now, you don't say, wait. Instead, you politely say, can you hold, please? Would you mind holding, please? Could you hold, please? Okay, that's a very important telephone expression. Now, my final very useful polite expression in English is sorry to bother you. Now, I use this all the time. It is the polite way of interrupting somebody when you'd like their attention. So, for example, you have to interrupt somebody because you need their help. So you say, I'm sorry to bother you, but I really need your help. I'm sorry to bother you, but could you pass me the baby wipes? Okay, so for example, on holiday with my mother, she was busy and I was changing Emily's nappy and I forgot the wipes. So I said, I'm sorry to bother you, Mummy. Could you pass me the wipes? Now, it's my mum, so I know her very well, but I am still polite with her. It's very important in English. So those are some tips on how to be polite in English, but I just have to finish with what I love sharing with students because it's so British. So a British person we're known for being polite. I wouldn't say everyone is polite, and there are in every nationality there are some people who are just rude because they just are. But the majority of our language is always aiming to be more polite. So our language is polite. Whether the person is polite is another issue. And sometimes British people might seem to be really polite, but their meaning is actually something quite different. And this confuses even other native English speakers. So I have American friends who do not understand me, who do not understand my meaning when I say these things, because they don't understand that I am not meaning at all what they hear. So like I said at the beginning, it can be quite rude. I wouldn't say it is rude. I would say it can be quite rude. So an American might even understand that as being only a little rude, when I actually mean it's very rude. But I am not that direct. A British person will always try and go around the houses. So here are some examples of that. If you hear a British person saying to you, with the greatest respect, now you hear respect, so you probably understand, oh, this person is listening to me. They have respect for me. No, unfortunately, we mean you are an idiot. I hate to tell you, but that's the meaning behind that. Another one is, that's not bad. If we say that, you might understand that you would understand that as that's bad. But because I have that's not bad, I actually mean that's quite good. That's good. So I say, that drawing, that's not bad. Again, it's also with my tone, that's not bad. I'm meaning that's good, okay? And then the opposite, if I say that's quite good, I actually mean it's a bit disappointing. So if someone gives me their results and they're okay, I go, oh yeah, that's quite good. But I actually mean I'm quite disappointed by that result. Now you would understand that as me saying, oh, that's good, because you don't hear the quite. The quite makes all the difference. Another one is, that's very interesting. This is a classic British expression. That's very interesting. Now, you hear when I say that, they like it, they think it's interesting. No, I don't mean that. I mean, that's complete nonsense. I don't find it interesting. I'm just trying to find something polite to say about it. On that note, when a British person can't say something polite, they will either say an adjective that is the most basic possible, or none at all. So, for example, nice is an adjective we use a lot when we don't really know what else to say. So if you're giving me some news and it's a bit, I don't really know how to respond, I go, okay, that's nice. No, I don't know what else to say. Or when my granny, apparently when she met my sister when she was a baby, when she was born, my sister was a very, very ugly baby. And my granny didn't know what to say. So she said, it's a baby. because she didn't know what adjective to say that was going to be polite. Sorry, that's another issue. Then another couple of expressions that have a different meaning is if I say, I'm sure it's my fault. You hear that I think that I'm making it my fault, or I'm saying it's my fault, but actually I'm saying it's your fault. I know, very, very confusing. And my last little that I have been known to say, and I think it's time that non-British people understand that it's not actually a polite invitation. So if I say, you must come to dinner one evening, I'm just being polite and it's not an invitation. So even though others will expect an invitation to come soon, there won't be an invitation. If I say, I'd love to have you round for dinner. What are you doing next week? Let's fix a date. Then that's an invitation. If I just say, you must come to dinner one evening, I don't mean it. Okay, so I hope I've clarified with the beginning with some useful polite expressions. I'm sure I've confused some of you with how British people are apparently being polite, but their meaning is not always the case, because that confuses every nationality. But I hope that maybe next time you hear a British person saying that's not bad, you might realize that it's actually a compliment they're giving you. And don't take offense. Anyway, that's all from me on this wonderful Friday. And I hope to see you again next Friday. And be sure to ask any questions you have on anything in English, either in the comments below or if you are one of our students, to comment in the group we have on our website. Bye for now.